Okay. Hello. Hi, everyone. Happy Wednesday, or whatever day it might be that you're watching this. Today, I want to talk about having the energy and also the strength to do the things that you love. So, I am actually today feeling a little bit tired because over the weekend, my husband and I took a 3 day backpacking trip out into the mountains. It was totally refreshing and amazing and reinvigorating. And so I'm a little tired today. But it was so interesting because I am ridiculously sore in my calves. The rest of my body feels great. We carried pretty heavy packs. We hiked about 10 miles in, 10 miles out, and my whole body feels pretty dang good, except that my calves are ridiculously sore. And, but it was interesting because it was actually really informative to get back from this backpacking trip. And we specifically picked out this lake that we wanted to go to that didn't have, too bad of elevation gain. So it wasn't anything that was too terribly strenuous or difficult. Things like that we were definitely conscious of. And and it was kind of a good test. Like, it was a good test to be like, okay, how does it feel to do that? Does my body feel strong and able to do that? And the answer is pretty much yes, except for my calves. And it made me want to do this video because, I think we can kind of get lost in the weeds around, how to, like, do we just pick a group fitness class to go to? Do we do the same thing at the gym every single week? Like, what are we really doing when we go to the gym? And how to create an individualized program for ourselves that really meets our goals, right? It can be kind of confusing to know how to put all of that together. And having this experience that I just had going on this backpacking trip, it was just like so clear to get back and be like, oh, I could work on a little bit more strength in my lower leg. Like, I could definitely work on some more calf strength, especially if I would like to go hiking and backpacking and out into the mountains more, which I do want to do. So that's kind of why I decided to make this topic for today's live video, is just to hopefully bring that into clarity for y'all about, what is it that you actually really love to do? And do you have the strength and the energy to be able to do those things, right? Um, so probably a couple years ago, I would have found myself maybe in a very different scenario. I was really stressed during the whole COVID lockdown times, and I I think I might have said no to the entire backpacking trip. I think I might have just sort of been like, oh, I'm too stressed. I don't have the energy. I'm just going to say no. And in the past, I think, like, I can't think of a specific time, but I just know that that's how I felt a few years ago when we were going through the lockdowns. But I can really remember this feeling of kind of resentment and overwhelm, kind of like this feeling of frustration that I would experience when I said no to doing something that I actually kind of wanted to say yes to, but for whatever reason didn't feel like I could say yes. So that's what we're going to get into today. Thanks everyone for joining me. My name is Linnea. I have gone from being a circus performer, an aerial circus performer. I started my own circus troupe and kind of traveled all around the country, and also had quite a few injuries during that time, and ended up having a herniated disc in my neck, 10 years of chronic neck pain. I've personally healed from about 7 or 8 different surgeries, a few concussions, and I've really gone through all of those experiences to get to the place where I am now, which is the owner and founder of a restorative Pilates and personal training studio here in Olympia, Washington. And I feel more passionate than ever helping others to overcome their chronic pain and injuries so that you can live your best life and come back stronger, healthier, wiser, and really do what you love and live an adventurous life. So, let's get into this. Okay. So, the first thing I want to talk about is really identifying these moments where you might say no. Like, where is there a moment when you're saying no to something and you feel resentful or you feel frustrated or you feel maybe even like jealous of the other people around you that are doing the thing that you want to do, and then you find yourself saying no to it? So that would be kind of the first thing. Like, do you notice yourself repeatedly doing that? Okay, it's a good thing to be aware of, right? We can get kind of stuck in this like self-martyrdom where it feels like it's just always going to be a no, and it just feels like we will never be able to have the energy or the time or the strength or whatever it is. We can kind of get stuck in these loops that are just like, oh, woe is me, I'll never be able to. Right? So just kind of the step one is like catch yourself in that moment and sort of say, okay, there that is, that resentment, that jealousy, that frustration. It's kind of like this constrictive, like pent up energy, right? Just kind of noticing it and being aware of it is step one. Um, and then step two, I think, is to really like courageously and bravely ask yourself, like, in what way could you say yes? Right? Like maybe it's true. Maybe it's true that you don't really have a lot of time or you don't really have a lot of energy. And so you can't say yes, maybe the way that you previously used to say yes, or you can't say yes to the entire thing or for as long or whatever the case may be. But like, is there a way that you could create a yes? Right? If somebody's inviting you on a 5 day backpacking trip and that's just like way too much for your body or it's way too much time, like, could you go for a day hike? Right? Like, could you go for a day hike with that person? Or you can hopefully like make this relevant to whatever's going on for you, right? And so, like, find a situation where you feel relatively safe saying yes to the thing. It's realistic, but it might challenge you a little bit. You might not be totally sure if you're going to be able to do it, right? Like, just try it out. Try pushing yourself just a tiny little bit to do the thing that maybe you really want to do, but maybe it intimidates you a little bit. And if you try it, you might get some really great information. So, kind of step two is like try it and get some good information from it, right? Like, maybe you're struggling to walk for long distances without pain, right? And so you might know because you might be forced to kind of walk longer than you want to every single day. And so you're like, yeah, every day I kind of feel this pain because I'm constantly on my feet and walking further than my body really feels able to. Right. So maybe that's a little bit of a different example because I'm talking about like the point at which you then stop doing the thing. Like, you're no longer doing it. You've said no. You've created different lifestyles. You've created different boundaries for yourself so that you're like no longer doing the thing. Right? We kind of we can make our world smaller and smaller and smaller because we maybe go through these periods of time where we experience that where we're like, it didn't work, it didn't work, it didn't work, and so we just kind of give up and we make our world smaller. So if you've been doing that, you might strategically try to expand your world a little bit. Like, well, have you tried going for a longer walk in the last, few months? Maybe now is a good time to try again and to try under circumstances where you're maybe a little bit more intentional about it so that you can really watch and see, like, how did it go? And so if you do that and use it as sort of like an intentional experiment, then you can work backwards from there and you can say, did it work? For me, I'm like, okay, now I need to work on some more calf strength so that I can continue to backpack without knee pain. Like, it actually, and I was getting a little bit of knee pain, nothing too bad, but a little bit of knee pain in my left knee, which is the knee that I have this ACL reconstruction on. And so it was a good reminder for me to kind of re-motivate myself. Like, oh yeah, I have that history in that left knee. I have a cadaver graft in that left knee, and it's something that I always kind of have to be working on. And so, but it was really a good motivator to be like, oh yeah, that clarifies for myself what I need to work on. I need to work on the mobility in that left knee. I need to work on my quad strength on my left leg. I need to work on my calf strength in general, right? And that actually then gives me specific things I can do, but also the motivation to do them, right? And so I hope this is giving you guys a little bit of a format to see, like, in a broad sense, like, what do you want to do? What do you want to do with your life? What makes you happy? You know, what makes you feel fulfilled? What are the people that you love doing? And are you able to participate, you know? And if the answer is no, and there's maybe some, you know, kind of negative emotions around that, right? It can be really heavy. We can kind of get stuck in these loops where it just feels really impossible and it feels safer to just say no. And so, you know, we have to be really kind to ourselves and we have to be really patient. And within that, we have to kind of courageously keep testing the border, right? We have to keep testing, like, can I expand a little step, right? We have to be so kind to ourselves because maybe it's true that you can't just do whatever. But if your world is feeling like it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and there's a lot of fear and there's a lot of hesitation and there's a lot of kind of resentment and jealousy and frustration around not being able to do what you love doing or what you once were able to do, then we have to really start intentionally, compassionately trying to push that edge and push that boundary and test it, and then kind of come back to the drawing board and see if it worked and go from there. And that process, even if it sort of is quote unquote a failure of like, okay, I tried it and it didn't work, it should hopefully give you some good information of like, oh, but I could try X, Y, and Z, and then I might be in a better place to like try again, right? So I hope that inspires y'all. This is what I do with all of my clients and all of my students. And specifically right now, I have a 4-week class series coming up. It's starting on July 10th. So it's called Functionally Fit and Strong. This is a 4-week class series specifically designed to give you the foundation of functional strength training, functional movement. This is for if you want to be able to walk or hike or run longer with less pain and better performance and endurance and all those good things, like just the basics of healthy moving and healthy, like having a healthy body that's going to be able to do the things that you want to do. And so I really guide you through this process of like how to define for yourself what it is that you need to work on, how to build consistency around that so that you can show up and just kind of regularly build in the routine and the habit of working towards these goals. And so I hope you join me. The link is in this video. I think it's in the comments below, so definitely check that out. We start on July 10th. This will be becoming an on-demand course. And so this is actually a very special opportunity right now to kind of be a little bit of a trailblazer and come along with me and some of my core students and core clients as we kind of build this program that I am then going to continue to offer going on from here. So if you like to be kind of at the front of the pack and sharing your feedback and getting a little bit more FaceTime with me, a little bit more of a chance to really ask me a lot of questions, and offer your feedback about what is most helpful for you, then definitely check out this program. It'll happen on Zoom. You'll have access to the replays for the entire month, and it is only $39, which is crazy. It's like really a good deal for what I'm offering y'all. You'll get access to the course after the whole class series is over. So we'll meet every single week for 4 weeks on Zoom. You'll have access to all the recordings. And then after that, all of that material is going to be kind of succinctly edited down into a super easy to follow, efficient program, which you will also have lifetime access to, all for $39. So click that link below. I can't wait to have you join me, and drop your comments below if you have any other questions or comments about this topic, about, you know, getting back to a place where you can do what you love and have the energy for it and have the strength for it, and so that you can say yes. All right, thanks everyone. Bye for now.